Pump it up. Friday night. Who's gonna watch? Nobody's watching tonight.
Yeah, I wonder if anyone ever will tune in.
Probably not. Actually, consistently we've been having 3 live viewers, and our peak is 9. We've had up to 9 people watching at a time. Thank you to all 9 of you that have tuned in live. Rock on, 9 people. But yeah, I mean, we just got 3 of us here tonight. No Calvin, so that's that. You know, I've heard a lot of IRL reviews of the pod, and Calvin has been. A lot of people say Calvin's the highlight. They're happy to have him on the show. And
Who reviews it IRL?
Just people I know personally in real life that have watched the show. But no, yeah, that's just what I've heard from a couple people now, is that Calvin kind of makes the show.
He's I think Calvin's pretty good at it. He's good at talking, I would say.
Good at keeping a flow.
Well, he's funny because he's not like that, like hanging out in a group of friends. He's way more talkative, and like he's paying attention to the conversation so he can engage. He doesn't do that when he's hanging out with friends. It's like he's in his own world. He's not talking. I thought that was funny that, you know, he was on here. And so if you were listening to our Tuesday episode, the cryptid episode, our cryptid zoologist, that was actually Calvin's girlfriend. Spoiler alert. I know a lot of people. Pretty much the thing is now, like, I would say the majority of our listeners are people that actually know us. And because of that, people obviously knew. And it was the whole thing was a goof. It wasn't supposed to be serious, but yeah, anyway,
well, except for the homunculus part.
The homunculus
There
part
were some
is real.
stories in there that were serious.
The ghost stories were real.
Yeah.
That was all legit stuff. Are ghosts considered cryptid though?
I think they're...
Why not? It's all Gravity Falls, Book of Weird or whatever, you know, Journal 3.
Amy's watching.
Whoop whoop! Shout out, Amy. Friday night, big Friday, holiday weekend coming up. I got a 3-day weekend, so.
Whoa.
Yep. You guys working Monday?
Yeah.
Working man's a sucker.
Yeah, I thought about taking it off, but I already kind of half planned something for Monday, so.
Well, why don't you half unplan it and we go mountain biking?
Yeah.
Come on.
But you could take any day off you want, though.
Yeah, you say that, but I really can't.
Well,
I think the problem is you just haven't gotten into any jobs yet that allow for that.
Well, I have too many going on. Is the problem.
So you guys
simultaneously.
How many months have you been in business for electrical? You guys started your own electrical business.
It depends on what you want to consider.
Well, yeah, when you opened the LLC, but when did you start doing business?
I still.
Yeah. Do you mean full time during the day or nights and weekends?
Both.
I would say nights and weekends. We started 2 years ago or a year ago.
Yeah, it was something I want to say. It was had to have been 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
2 years ago, you guys were just working nights and weekend, working full time for somebody else during the week.
Yeah, and then it's been 5 or 6 months now.
You've been hammering it away. Solo.
Being on my own, yeah.
And obviously that's what that matching hats are about. But no, I mean that's pretty. I think it's cool. It's also like around here it's very common for people to be self-employed, but I think like nationwide or just even in different parts of the state, it's not as common to be self-employed. And for us, that's like all we've known. That's what our grandfather did. That's what our father did. That's what you guys are doing now. And
to be fair, all I've ever known is working for somebody. So personally, on my personal level, that's all I've ever known.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're still under a boss right now, but Curtis at least got the ball rolling for you, so you can jump out when you're ready. But
yeah, it's ASAP as possible would be nice.
Almost there.
But it Well, I mean, so I guess Carter, you say you've never you've always had a boss. What's that been like for you? Because I've had multiple bosses, but it's never been like a typical boss employee relationship for me. But what have you been through for job experience, different bosses?
Well, I would say it's not anything like working for a big company. It's definitely a small town, small company type of experience I've had. Like I think working for a bigger company, you'd have a lot more leeway as far as taking time off and whatever you're doing for vacation and stuff. But
Not to completely derail you, but I almost feel like that would be the opposite. Like working for a smaller company would be easier.
well,
to
you
take
would
time
think,
off.
but when you work for the problem is I've only worked for people who that's all they care about in life is that's what they find fun is doing work,
Right.
and that's all they care about is doing.
They're
work
not
themselves.
work hard, play hard in spirit.
It's
No.
it's harder in a small company to take time off because there's nobody there to replace you when you do leave. There's no one to
get
pick
the
up
work done.
to pick up the slack. It's either
Well, that's true, but I guess again, just from my own experience, the people I've worked for, I generally just say, "Hey, I'm not going to be here these days," and they figure it out for the day. Obviously, you don't get paid when you're not there, but as long as you give them notice, you're not there those days, they figure it out. That's been my own experience, but obviously not in a trade.
yeah. There's a lot more people. You're relied on by a lot more people than just your boss to get the work done. And
Yeah.
he's trying to schedule it and make it so everybody's happy. All his customers are happy. All the contractor you're working for, all their customers are happy.
I guess that's true. Like, so you guys could be holding up a whole job essentially, right?
Yeah,
Like,
if we don't show up.
like if you took vacation for a week, that might mean an entire house, their whole schedule is pushed a week back.
Right.
So that there's a little more urgency.
The whole house, the whole project, it keeps other guys from working, not just that work
in
for,
certain scenarios.
Yeah. I would say that's more of a fringe case, but
What I guess, Curtis, for you, like as far as stepping out on your own, what so far these 5 months you've been really working by yourself, like what are you loving and what are you hating about working for yourself?
I don't know. I like working. I like being able to set my own hours. Obviously, I think that's nice, and taking days to not go bust ass somewhere and work. I think the tough part is not having help and having to do every single thing yourself, and stuff takes. I mean, I've always had a partner. Generally, sometimes I've been the apprentice, but the past couple of years I've had an apprentice, so I trained him and we got good at doing stuff and teamwork, and we could get a lot of stuff done in a day. And now having nobody, I got to do every little thing myself, and every time I need a new tool or part, or I got to go out to the truck, or I got to take a ride into town and pick it up, and it just makes everything takes exponentially longer, and it makes it tougher to get anything done.
At what point would you hire yourself an apprentice for your own business? Like, what?
I probably would now if Carter wasn't quitting his job.
Well, like, so you think like just you and Carter, you'd rather do that? Like, I figured even if Carter was working side by side with you, why wouldn't you have one or two apprentices there?
Just being able to pay somebody and just keep it enough. Not that you can't pay somebody anyway, because it all gets billed off to the customer. It's pretty easy to hire an employee.
It gets billed off to the customer, and can't you hire the employee so that they're responsible for their own taxes? I forget what it's called, but
not
for electrical.
Not with an apprenticeship.
Not for an apprentice.
Okay.
You could hire another master electrician in that way.
I was just thinking of like other simpler trades like carpentry or painting or something. A lot of times those guys are, I forget what the term is, but there's
Subcontractor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you got to be responsible for saving your own money for tax season, not your boss.
I think the problem would be to Carter to quit his job and have multiple apprentices is right at the moment having enough cash flow to pay people.
Yeah,
you would have be making money and you would be able to pay them,
Right.
but it would take
you guys don't have the bank necessarily.
Yeah, we need to build up a little more of a bankroll.
Right. That makes sense.
Plus, we don't have a work van yet. That's a kind of an issue at the moment.
Right. Yeah, you got to have a work van, and then you got to get some kind of bucket for the apprentice to ride on, and
yeah something
bucket
like,
or milk crate,
Yeah.
or cooler, something of the sort.
yeah, but hopefully sooner than later I'll go get a van. I been dragging my feet a little bit. I saw a Quigley van that I thought about going to look at, but
GMC or
yeah, just a
GMC Quigley conversion.
Express, yeah.
Nice.
I
Chevy Express.
I brought Randy his generator today, and
Uncle Randy, shout out.
he's got a 87 Chevy camper. It just came back from Florida. It's got a new roof on it.
Now,
And
is it like a single rear wheel, or is it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I took a picture of it.
So it's really more
I
of
wanted
the van platform.
Is it on?
yeah.
Did it back up to photos yet?
Not yet, but
We'll try and work on this. We'll get it up on the screen at some point here, so you guys can take a look at. But
I
yeah.
just thought it was kind of a cool looking camper, and the inside's all dated, but
Uncle Rico style, kind of.
it's bigger. It's bigger than that. It's like it's a small Class C.
Okay.
But
But is it? Oh well, I guess we'll see in a
There it
moment
is.
here. Okay. So it is a full-on
right here.
camper
Yep.
then.
yeah, but he wants $4,000 for it, and
It's so basically it's a van cab, and it's got a full camper built on the back of it, and it does look like it's a single rear wheel, which is
I think it might be dually. It's a dually because he did
Is
say
it a dually?
it's got 6 new
I was just trying
tires
to
on
figure
it, a
out.
new
okay.
roof.
There we go.
A dually makes more. Oh yeah. Okay. Now that we're zoomed in on the photo, you can see. Yeah. So it is a dually. You said he wants $4,000 for this thing.
Yeah, I thought it
Is
looked.
it waterproof?
Yeah,
It's not leaking.
yeah. He said it's got a new roof on it.
Runs okay.
Yeah, like, it just drove to Florida and back.
Who drove it to Florida?
I don't know. I can't remember the guy's name.
How much money can we pull together?
Something more. I don't know.
I'd love to have it. So if that's you still got that on the stream,
I just took it down.
pull it back up one more time. So just look at this thing. This is it's not the dream. The dream, I think, is always to have something a little bit smaller that's 4-wheel drive, so you'd feel comfortable driving it in the snow. But this is not crazy. This is something you can park in most regular. It's going to be a little bit bigger than a parking space, but you can pretty much get it in a regular parking space. It does not look like it'd be a problem to drive. I wouldn't want to drive it too many highway miles, but certainly in and around
I
locally.
bet you it would go pretty good on the highway, actually.
I don't know. I'm just thinking of so I've driven a regular van on a windy day, and it's not fun in a regular van. This looks a lot bigger than a
Yeah.
regular van.
Anyway, that's why I took the picture because I thought it was kind of cool, and I thought you might want to see it. And
Yeah, $4,000. I mean, even without if
Did you
if
look
this
at
was,
the inside of it?
yeah,
It's clean on the inside.
it's pretty nice. It could use a new mattress, and
but it's not like all moldy and shit.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, if this was Facebook Marketplace and I saw that for $4,000, I would be hitting. Is this still available? For sure, I'd be interested. But maybe we'll just have to go take another look at it. It doesn't hurt to at least look. But
Yeah, I don't. Well, you got Monday off. I'll be over there working on Monday. You can come over and take a look at it if you want.
yeah, maybe I will. Not that I have that cash laying around, but could probably scrape together an offer. But
Yeah, maybe you take something. Like I said, it's got brand new tires, new roof, and it drove to Florida and back. So
yeah, I think it looks like a steal. I'm always looking for something to camp in. I got my truck cap on my truck, and I haven't done anything to it. But I have been watching a lot of reviews on cheap diesel heaters. Like I've had a couple throughout the different vans I've had, but you can buy them now that are like you were saying, all set up with the
Yeah, just an
gas
all-in.
tank already plumbed, and
Yeah, just an all-in-one thing.
yeah, and so that's probably what I'm gonna get, and then I'm thinking I can use it combination of truck bed heater / I can use it to heat the garage when I want to hang out in there this winter.
Oh, out there.
Yeah.
How do you pipe the exhaust on it though if it's inside the garage?
It's just like
Or does it just exhaust right into the
no.
space?
So it has the exhaust pipe on it, and it has the intake pipe. So there's an intake for fresh air, an exhaust for the fumes, and then there's the vent that pushes out the hot air. So you'd put the whole unit, in my opinion, you'd put the entire unit outside and just put the
the hot air
vent tube
pipe.
that pumps the hot air. You just put that inside, and the rest of the unit would be outside.
Just sits outside, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
If I were to use it in my truck, I'd set it up to where, you'd fold the tailgate down, the whole thing's sitting on the tailgate, just that one pipe will be sticking inside.
I'd be curious to
pumping hot
know
air
if
in.
that would be less efficient, because a lot of the time they want if the heater is in the heated space, it's a lot more efficient.
I think
place
it makes a
faster.
difference in terms of, like, it's a diesel heater, right? It's a diesel engine, so it's got glow plugs and stuff. So yeah, in terms of it firing up, I'm sure it's slightly more efficient to have it inside. But you got to think if a van is sitting in the cold and it's not running and there's no heat on and the diesel heater's not running, what's the fucking difference between it sitting outside and sitting inside the van? Sometimes it's colder inside the van because there's so much metal.
Right.
You know what I mean? I can't see a world where it would affect it enough for you to notice or care. I'm sure it's measurable. I'm sure there is an effect, but not enough for you to care. Would be that's my read on it. I'm not a numbers nerd. I'm not a miles per gallon guy. MPG highway, fuck that. I've never paid attention. Gas is always expensive. I'm gonna drive my truck regardless. Same can be said for my diesel heater. I'm gonna fire that thing up, and whatever it does, it does. It's better than nothing. It's better. It's actually it's better than most everything. Having these little 12-volt diesel heaters, they're better than anything else I've used. Electric heat. The only thing that you could say is better is an actual wood stove, and even that has a lot of downsides. The diesel heater, I can program it to start on a clock. It'll start whenever I tell it to, run for however long I tell it to, run intermittently, do all kinds of stuff.
I don't know if like the bathroom and the water system in that thing works. I would say probably no, but it would be pretty.
Renovate it. This is
It would be a pretty
this
sweet.
is Carter's dog Bear. He came to say hi. Hi Bear, come here. Want to be on the pod? Bear, what do you think about Carter as an owner? I was gonna see if I could
Make him yelp.
No, I was just gonna hold his face in front of the mic, but put my mouth behind his face, and I was gonna do like a Scooby Doo. Whoa. He's looking for something in the couch right now. He likes to bury things in the couch cushions.
Yeah, you probably shoved the bone in there somewhere.
He's taking Calvin's spot on the pod. And oddly enough, if you guys can see him okay, he's kind of blending in with the couch, but he might be more entertaining than Calvin would be. We were actually just saying, or did I start the pod off? I think I started the pod off saying how Calvin got good reviews, but guess what, Cal? There's a new dog in town, and he's taking the spotlight. So
anyway, I thought you could set it up. That'd be a good ski van or something.
Good ski van, or just even anything.
Or a good Texas van.
Yeah, I like having a, like that's always in the back of my head. I like having something you can live in. Yeah, so it's like when shit hits the fan, I can bug out real quick.
You should see if not that you wanna do anything. You want the van, but see if he'd take some trade on it.
Trade him.
Barter.
Do a little bit of bartering, install his generator. I think it'd be cool to have a van like that for
anything. Think of if we wanted to go to the movies.
Well, I mean,
we all pile in that thing.
Yeah, I think
Going to a concert.
Because I hate going in the lodge. I hate lugging my ski gear into the lodge to go skiing. It's much nicer if you have a nice place out in the parking lot where you can get ready or go back and cook lunch or something.
If you can stay out of a ski lodge, you're winning.
You're essentially buying the mobile ski lodge.
That, I think, for doing ski trips, it would be sick, and going to concerts. Imagine in the summertime, we all want to go to a concert. We pile in that.
Yeah, well, we haven't actually really discussed going on a ski trip this year. I know we talked about it with Tanner going like to a local place like we did to last year, but we could all just meet here, pile in that thing, and we could all take one vehicle. The only problem is
I don't know. We'd pack so much gear into that thing though.
You could pack light. The thing is, like me, I'm a gremlin. I'd bring what I call my super suit. It's like a base layer of stuff that you can sweat through, then a layer on top that will soak up the sweat, and then you put on all your ski stuff after that. And I wouldn't bring any other clothes, just a super suit, the one outfit.
it'd be cool if the inside of it, I don't know how nice the inside of it really was, but inside of it was nice enough to be nice, but not nice enough to where you could butcher it a little bit, and if you wanted to add a little wood stove to the inside of it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would say
I think that's probably right where it lives, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's nice enough where if you wanted to,
to use it, you can, or if you want to fix it up.
I mean, some guy, I don't remember something more. He stayed in it for 2 weeks in Florida on the beach and drove it back. So it's a little bit rough. I think you got to be kind of an animal to want to live in it, but also it's nice enough where where you don't feel like you're gonna get a disease when you go in it either.
Now,
and it doesn't stink.
Again, like we were just talking about, I was saying how great these diesel heaters are. I love the idea of a wood stove in a van. It's very romantic. I love the ambiance of a wood stove. But now you're talking about packing 8 guys into a van for a ski trip. All of a sudden, that wood stove doesn't sound so cool. It sounds like it takes up a lot of space.
It'd be
the
cool.
Wood takes up space.
Yeah. But it would be a little bit gimmicky where you can run the wood stove driving down the road, have a couple guys in the back stoking the stove, and have a chimney shooting sparks out of it.
Yeah, I think generally that's frowned upon.
It's probably illegal.
It's probably frowned upon to have the fire burning in the parking lot of the ski mountain.
Well, yeah, but also like depending on where you go, you can pull a full-on charcoal barbecue out and grill in the parking lot. So
I would say I would stay away from putting a wood stove in something like that, though. The amount of times you've seen them burn down.
I just think it's as much as I love it, I've thought about it so many different ways, and I love it so much, but it just doesn't make sense. And these diesel heaters are around $100. You can get the whole friggin' unit, and like I said, you program it with a timer. So you want to get out, go skiing, you program it. Say I'm coming back to the van at noon for lunch. You program it to turn the heat on at 11. You get back, it's roasty toasty. Your mittens are sitting in front of the heater, so your extra mittens are already warm when you come back to the van.
If you had a camper like this, you could put a generator in the camper and wheel it out when you pulled up to the mountain and set up a crock pot or something. And I guess you could do it all off battery too.
I would do solar panels and batteries now. I think for around $1,000 is what I figured you can get all the solar and battery power you really need. A lot of people overcomplicate all that stuff.
Does that include a power inverter so you can run 120 volts or not?
No, it doesn't include a power inverter, but for some reason we have like a really old power inverter, but also like what are you needing to run that you can't get a 12 volt version of? You know what I mean? Like what can you name it? Like I know you've named a crock pot,
microwave,
which is obscure. Why would you want a microwave? I think that uses too much power and it sucks anyway. Like why wouldn't you use literally anything else?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think there's ways around it. I think that if you wanted to run power, I think that...
I just, from my own experience, you can get whatever you want, 12 volt. You know what I mean? You just look it up, this, blah, 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 12 volt, boom, done. You can get anything.
Well, it would be kind of cool. Like I said, I saw it, and
I guess if you wanted to run a TV, you would need the inverter.
Yeah.
TV and internet.
Get the Starlink on.
Yeah, put Starlink and have a TV and stuff. So I could see, so I don't know how much an inverter costs, but
you should buy that anyway because you might want to start camping at your potential place, your camping spot.
I don't know. I think I'd just sleep in the house, just camp in the house.
I think either way, I think we try and make an offer on this camper. Why not? $4,000. I mean, come on.
Well, that's what I thought too. I thought it was kind of a if you wanted, I don't know.
I mean, we get a lot of projects rolling around already, and it's probably not something we need on our plate. But if it's something we could use right off,
Well, that's what
I'd
I
go
mean.
in on it, but I don't want to spend $4,000 myself.
yeah. And honestly, I don't even have, like I could probably freely spend like $1,000 without feeling bad about it. You know what I mean? Like more than that, I really don't have it. I just put new tires on my truck. I don't have a picture of it. I should have taken a picture of it with the new tires on it. But I got some new. What did I get, Curtis? You remember?
KM3s.
But what size were they?
255, 85, 16.
I've never been a numbers guy, but Curtis obviously
They're like
just
34s.
They just know these things. They just rattle them off their head. I can tell you this: they're bigger than my old ones. The truck sits a little bit higher. It doesn't turn quite as great. But
doesn't turn the same?
no, it does turn the same. But just you notice a difference. You're riding up slightly higher, and I feel like I can feel that the tires are narrower. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, you usually can.
It's different, and I was getting some crap. The guy that put my tires on for me, he was giving me some crap about it. He's like, what did he say exactly? He just said, you got more money in tires than the whole truck is worth. And he's not. I think it's about square. I think
I think your truck's worth more than that.
If you did a full paint job to it, I mean, it would be worth $5,000.
right, and I've got
$2,000 worth of tires.
yeah, or close to it. Just shy of $2,000 worth of tires. And the truck's not worth a whole lot more. But for me personally, it's one of those things where the truck I have honestly is like do I love that it's not all one color? I don't. I think it'd be nice if it all looked nice and new and was all one color, but it's not, right? And if we repaint it, will it all be one color? Yeah, but will it be an original? It's not gonna ever look the way it should, right? It's gonna be off because it's old and abused. Okay, so me personally, I like the authenticity of just the rough look, the different colors. It's clean, but it's not nice. It's a beater, and I don't know. I do actually like it as a truck, and I like driving it, and putting these tires on it makes me go from just liking it to loving it. I think it looks the way I want it to look now. It looks like a tough farm truck, beater truck.
Well, those tires are actually big enough where you can take it off road and
For sure.
and stuff. Those were the tires. Well, I don't think we went over Woodman Hill a ton with those tires on, but we did.
Definitely
did do it several times, and
for sure, climbing in and out of the cab, I would say it's a noticeable maybe 2 inches climbing it. I honestly should have measured. I wish I had measured with the old tires, just from like flat ground to the floor of the truck.
you probably gained about 2 inches, probably close to that.
That's the way it feels getting in and out, because before my butt was higher than my seat of my truck, right? So I could just sit in and out, but now I actually have to step into my truck. It's not a huge step in, again, because I'm tall, so it's easy. I can still step in, no problem, but I'm not already sitting in the seat like I was before.
Right.
Yeah, I haven't taken out in the woods yet. I'm a little bit nervous too, I guess, because I don't want to break something. But even with my old bald tires, I did take it out in the woods pretty often, and I would never like beat on it. I would just crawl, 5 miles an hour in 4-wheel drive, and yeah. So I haven't done it since I put the new tires on.
You probably got enough. You could take it up to the ledge.
I don't know if I'd make it all. So, a couple weeks ago, I drove with my bald tires out to the ledge, and I didn't make it all the way there. I made it the majority of the way, but I got to a certain point that the trail is so washed out, more than it's ever been. Like, I don't know when the last time you've been down it.
Going up the hill, you mean? Going up the...
No,
or
no,
tumble
no.
down itself.
The whole road is like a riverbed. It's violent. It's rocky.
I haven't been over there in a while.
So there used to be a section of the trail, the rock garden, and the whole thing is almost as bad as the rock garden now. My van, that had so much ground clearance, it wasn't a problem, but there was a couple different spots where things were so rough, like you had to be really careful. You needed a spotter, otherwise I would have caved in part of my van. And you remember how much ground clearance that thing had.
Yeah.
But obviously it was super wide wheelbase, so just different in terms of how you want to high center yourself or not.
Yep.
My truck, I'll be real curious. I'll have to take it out probably this weekend and test it out and see what I can do. But I'm sure it'll do just fine. New tires, though, man. That was like my last goal on my list here now. And
Before winter, you mean?
yeah, before winter, and well, like just in general, like now, like I don't have my sights set on anything, like in particular.
Not working towards anything.
Well, I'm trying to save money. I'm always trying to save money. Like I was saying, like I could spend money on this van, but like I really am trying to save money. I'm trying not to be completely crazy and stupid with my money. So
Yeah.
blowing $4,000 on a van, not a great idea. But yeah, I mean, I do want to keep working on my truck camper, like I was saying. But I haven't done anything to work on it. It's got a long way to go before I can even put a bed in my bed.
Yeah.
Put a bed in my bed.
Is that cap you have on your truck waterproof?
So the only problem with it right now is the front lip of it, where it rests on the front of the bed. It's caved in. So once I get it pushed back out,
Is it aluminum or something?
no, it's fiberglass, but it was broken.
Oh.
It's like it's a thin piece because there's windows that sliding windows. So the windows were open. They threw it on the ground and it caved in that bottom lip.
Yeah.
And so I got to get that pushed back out, and then it should be watertight after that. That's the only place I've seen water coming in is where it's caved.
There's
in
no
there.
door on the back though.
There's no door on the back, but my plan for that is to build like I want to say like 1.5 feet probably inside of the doors to build frame up and build a real doorway inside. That way I'll have, like I said, like 1.5 feet between the tailgate and my interior doors to have
A little covered storage.
Yeah, bed space if I want to throw garbage in there or firewood or just anything that can be separate from where my bed and stuff is. And then also, so like, most truck campers obviously have that hatchback door on the cap. My cap coincidentally didn't come with a door. So I won't get the hatchback feature. But if I have the door set in, you can set up and do your tailgating stuff outside in the cold and still have your door shut and have it warm in the house area. You're not going to lose all that heat instantly. So
Yeah, you're setting it up to have like a porch.
Yeah, basically have a porch, and I think it'll be useful and maybe look cool too.
Yeah, you should get one of those. Have you seen those tailgate extenders? Those metal frames. You drop the tailgate down, and it's like a frame that comes out. It's like a bed extender, not a tailgate extender. So you drop the tailgate down, and then there's this frame that comes out and like extends the bed, so you can.
Is this like a lift gate kind of? Or?
It's not a lift gate. It's just more like a rail. Think of it like a railing that goes around your tailgate.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And you just leave the tailgate down all the time.
Oh yeah. Okay, now that you say that, I know what you're talking about. I've seen it. Generally, you see it on like an avalanche or something. Someone's got a tiny bed.
Yeah. Yeah, something with a 6-foot bed or something like that. You could put, and then you could just leave your tailgate down all the time.
Yeah, I've seen those before. Well, and that's the thing is I wouldn't want to leave the tailgate down all the time. But
if you had a foldable one or something, though, I guess.
Yeah.
No, it just gives you the option.
Well, anyway, it's something I just gotta get to work on it. I've pretty much got all the supplies I need sitting around the yard at home to build. Like, I'm not gonna make it basically, I think I've determined in the past what I try and do, because I'm not overly confident in my own building skills, right? And actually, I would say, like, if you want something done right, I would not offer to do it, right? If you want it done right, which our whole lives, you know, we've been brought up, there's a very high standard for work, right? Especially like carpentry work. Very, very high standard. You can't just be slapping crap together and call yourself a carpenter. I'd never dare to call myself a carpenter or a woodworker or anything of the sort, right? But I know for a fact I can slap together this truck camper and make it functional the way I want it to. Who knows what it'll look like?
Yeah.
Right. In the past with my other builds, I try and express my ideas to you guys and to Dad and to try and get it to look like something, because I didn't want it to just look like a heap of trash and have people making fun of it. And but where my truck already looks like a heap of trash from the outside, I figure it goes along with it to make it look ramshackle and shit on the inside. And like I said, I know I can do it so it's functional and it's not going to fall apart. Is it going to be square, correct, even? Will I use a tape measure at all once ever? No. I'm going to take scrap wood and test fit it and cut and recut until it fits, you know?
Yeah.
But that's kind of been my holdup, I guess, is I just haven't talked myself into just saying I'm going to just do it the way I want to, because
Just frick it.
because in my head, there's always this thing of like if you're going to do it right. Like in my head, you know what I mean? And that can always get in the way of me actually doing something, because to do something right is so much harder than to just do it, you know?
Yeah. I think that's just your mindset thing.
See, in my opinion, it's like sometimes it's easier to do it right than it is to like do it fucked up.
To an extent, like this podcast, I think is a great example. Like in the past, I've gotten to the point where I say, you know what, screw it. Like I don't have the equipment, I don't have the money, I don't have the people to do this right. You know, so I've done my solo different podcast episodes throughout the years. And I would say that's a lot harder, right? It's a lot harder to do that the wrong way as opposed to what we did now. Like this was expensive and difficult to get set up, but now that Carter bought all the equipment and set it up, it is a lot easier to do.
Well, and that's what
it's easier to pump out an episode.
Right.
It's harder sometimes to do it wrong than it is to just do it right. Like with carpentry specifically, when I see somebody do something wrong, it's like, wow, you really had to try to do something that wrong. Where if you just
well, you know, building houses obviously is a lot more of a science. You know.
No, I'm just, but I mean, like, it's kind of in general. Sometimes things are hard to do right, but a lot of the time, if you just take a tiny bit of time, you can figure out how to do it a lot nicer than.
That's you're applying Calvin logic right now. Just because it's easy for you to do right doesn't mean it's easy for everybody. Like
what I was gonna say is, I don't even think you have to do it that ramshackly or get a tape measure out. I would say get something like some cardboard, and if you're trying to mock something up,
you know what? I'm going to get a box of GRKs and go out to the pile of slab lumber with the electric Milwaukee chainsaw, and those will be the only tools.
That'd probably be fine. The only
Impact
spot that I'm
gun, GRKs, Milwaukee chainsaw, slab wood.
The only problem that I see is trying to close in the door and have it airtight. And I was just thinking to scribe around the curve of the thing. You could.
Yeah, you could do that. The thing that I'm going to do in my head that I'm thinking now is I'm just going to frame up a wooden frame doorway as best I can, as close to the edge of the wood as I can. And then if I really want it to be tighter, if I want to seal the gaps, I'll get like silicone and fill the gap between like the frame of what will be the door. And then the plywood part, you're right, I might do the scribing with cardboard to like scribe a piece of plywood and cut it right.
Yeah.
to make a nice finish on the
Yeah,
door.
that's what I was thinking. Also, what I was thinking is, do you think anyone's watching this podcast? Because I think we've talked about zero interesting topics.
No, are you kidding me? So this has
you
been
think-
one of my more favorite podcasts because we talked about your guys' business a little bit. We did a little bit of an interview. I pressed you guys on some business stuff. We flowed naturally into talking about my truck camper. I don't know if anyone's listening, but I think this is one of the better episodes we've done. My first van. On Amy's commenting about my first van. My first van was that green Dodge, and that was one of the nicer ones we did because, again, I had Dad help me do the interior. We did a really nice job with all the, we didn't go crazy with it. We built a wooden spot that held a cooler in place. There was a small table and then a cabinet below it. The cabinet didn't even have doors on it, but it did have a grooved out piece of plywood you could lift up to a hidden compartment. We didn't do anything crazy, but what we did do was nice.
Mm-hmm.
You painted the van. It came out really good.
I really wish I did something a little bit different for the zebra stripe down the side.
Well, okay, so this pisses me off if we want to talk about this because I'm clueless, right? I am completely clueless and helpless. I'll admit that. So
Yeah.
So it's my own fault.
Yeah.
It's my own fault for being so clueless, right? I could have done any amount of research. I did none. I did zero. I just talked to you guys because that's how much trust I have in you guys, that you guys just know everything. When it comes to this kind of stuff, I just figure you guys know everything, right?
Yeah.
So we use an angle grinder and a wire wheel to grind off pinstriping.
I think we
No, it was
used,
a flap disc, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was a flap disc.
I don't even know what a flap disc is,
It's
but
like the sandpaper wheel
Yeah.
for the grinder.
so I ground this pinstriping off the side of my van and ground off a decent amount of the van with it, only to find out days later they make these giant eraser rubber eraser things exactly for this that would have stripped the pinstripe off and
Not left a big mark.
yeah, you could have stripped the pinstripe off and then you go over it with a little bit of acetone to take off the eraser dust.
Yeah.
And the thing would have been mint because you did do such a good job spraying it. I can only remember one run in the whole thing and
Yeah, there's a few spots I remember, but it did come out. The color was pretty good.
it was
I
a
thought.
great color, great sparkle to it.
Still
I don't know.
still have it. You could spray it on something else if you wanted.
Well, yeah, if I ever get something that deserves a coat of paint like
Probably
that,
not for a whole van, but if you wanted a little something painted, you could. But
a door or something.
yeah, or just whatever. I
But
don't know.
yeah, and anyway, that was a big learning lesson.
Yeah.
But that's
Was that something Curtis put you up to, was grinding, or was that
Yeah.
something you did on your own?
no.
Well,
I
I don't
wanted it
remember-
done. Okay, I was at the point with this thing where I was just ready to sell the van because I was so sick of this. How many weeks did I sand that thing?
2 days.
Was that it? 2 days?
I don't even know if you sanded it that long.
It was way longer than I wanted to. I started sanding it and then I gave up and was driving it to work for a couple days. And this was when I was working at the golf course. And then I don't know. I was just so sick of it, trying to get the work done. And I had sanded off a lot of the paint, but I hadn't done anything around the pinstripe. And the pinstripe went the whole way around the van.
I think we had started actually sand with the sandpaper with the orbital sander trying to sand off the pinstripe, and I think it was working, but you had to change a pad every 2 seconds.
That's
because it was
true too.
just gumming up.
Yeah, you had to change the pad every 5 seconds on the sander. The other thing I tried doing was the heat gun in a razor blade, but it was so brittle because it was old out in the sun. It would just chip off a tiny flake at a time, and it's hot and sticky. Now it's sticking to the friggin' razor. It was such a nightmare, and I have no patience for that.
And so eventually it was, either we paint over the pinstripe.
You had to talk into the mic.
Eventually it was either we paint over the pinstripe or we take the angle grinder and get it off of there. And not realizing how much of a gouge it really put into the paint, until after it was all done.
Right.
And then it was, well, do we Bondo it? And that was an option, was to spread a little Bondo on it.
I think you were really trying to convince me to do it too, even. But I was so fed up with it. I was like,
I don't care.
I was like, I don't care. Put the paint on it. I want to be done. And when I sold the van, I pointed that out to the people I sold it to, because I told them we painted it and all the work we did to it. And I was like, you can see right here, there was a pinstripe and we didn't know any better. And we ground it off, and only to find out that wasn't necessary. I told them this whole thing, but the people who bought it, they were like, oh no, like we saw it. We thought like that was like an art design. Well, they were like, no, yeah. Like we thought it was like the pinstriping, but we thought you had done like, artistically like scales, I don't know. It's just like,
yeah, some people would probably like that.
And
give it a little
the people
character.
that bought the van were like
real crunchy,
like super van people. I was happy to sell it to them, kind of thing. And I was a little bit sad because for the pictures on Marketplace, I left the cooler in the van because I wanted you to be able to see, like, it was built with this purpose in mind. You put the cooler in.
Yeah.
Big selling point. And I did try. So the cooler I bought, it was a Coleman cooler. It cost me $50. It was like plastic on the inside, but it had a metal facade on the outside.
Yeah.
So it looked nice. And I did throw that into the cost when I sold the van. But they did ask specifically for the cooler, because I was like, yeah, I just got to get a couple things out. If you don't mind, I want to keep my cooler. And they were like, no, well, we really wanted it. And in my head instantly, I was like, well, you know what, like the thing we built was literally purpose built for that cooler. So I was like, you know what? Yeah. Like, I'll throw it in $50. That's what it cost me,
Yeah.
And, but great van, a lot of good memories in that thing. My 4-wheel drive van, I liked it more because it was big and 4-wheel drive, but I definitely had better memories in the Dodge. I had it for a lot longer.
Well, it seemed like you kind of petered out on your van life. You weren't van lifing as much when you got the white one.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't even say that, because if you go back and watch my ski videos, that whole ski season, I was in my white van every single video.
But you were day tripping. You weren't
true.
sleeping in it.
I was day tripping, but that was part of the issue with that monster truck van. Was it? Looking back, I think it's just as reliable as my truck is now. Right? I don't think it was crazy unreliable, but you guys, Dad, everybody kind of really had it in my head that this thing was a death trap and not to take it too far from home.
I don't know. I guess I don't think anyone ever said don't take it too far from home. I think it was more don't take it on a road trip across the country.
Well, and so you guys don't remember either, but there was like I can't remember if I had the van for 2 summers or not. I want to say I did.
Oh yeah, I think so.
There was like 2 summers where every weekend I took the thing up to Maine for the whole weekend. I did use it. It's not like it got
up to Poland.
Yeah, it's not like it got no use. I did get use out of it.
That's true. I forgot about that. You did take it up there quite a bit.
Yeah, and it served me really well. But it just was not. I never worked on it enough to make it like nice and cozy. Like we did put wood up on the walls and on the roof, but we never did the trim. That's so you could see the wires hanging out and metal in the corners. We never go. Oh, dude, my buddy Ted Evans just commented. What did he say? Good evening from the Valero in Vermont. Yes, Ted, the Valero King. If you've never spent time up to, I actually think it's in the town of Waitsfield is where the Valero is located, but that's the next town over. The Valero is a gas station. It's the only place open later than 10 o'clock in the I can't even remember the name of that county in Vermont, but basically the entire county, the Valero is the only place that's open past 10. My boy Ted, shout out. He's probably at work tonight. Ted, if you're still watching live, let us know. How's the Valero? Anyone come in tonight? Going back to Vermont, Did I tell you guys? Did we talk about that on the pod? How me and Calvin went up to Vermont?
I didn't hear about that yet. I heard you get. I guess you did a little bit. Calvin flashed some people.
Yeah, did we talk about that on the podcast?
I thought we did talk about it.
Okay, so Ted is gonna expose me here, but I'm not gonna read it on the stream. But if you're in the chat, yeah, I'm cooked. Ted's exposed me hardcore. So thanks, Ted. Thanks, my man. So
Big win.
Now you
Big
can,
election win.
yeah, you can find out exactly what I was doing at the Valero past 10 o'clock. But yeah, okay. So Ted obviously can read the room. Making a little comment about the election. Again, don't need to read it on stream. That can be an aside. You can read the comments and
We don't have anything. We don't
figure
have
out the
anything
reference
in
on
here
here. No, but my boy Ted, we've
discussed it.
well, yeah, we've just had. I don't even know if I ever made any like real commitments either way in terms of that, in terms of a political discussion. But I think he definitely knows my vibe and can definitely, like I said, read the room. But yeah. Anyway, so it's just really cool
I
to
don't.
have.
Is he asking or is he telling us that everybody is happy? I think he's telling us
That's
Vermont.
Oh,
The
really?
people in Vermont are happy.
People in Vermont are happy.
That's the way I read it.
Well, Ted, why don't you? So again, this is getting a little bit into the weeds for people that aren't here live, but this is why you got to be part of the live show, guys. Live is always better. You can be here and interact in the chat. But Ted, let us know. Are the folks in Vermont generally happy with the election result? Are you just saying like you're happy and we're happy? Like, is that what the comment's about? You can let us know. Ted gets the cross section of Vermont because it's a gas station. Everybody needs gas, and a lot of people need like scratch tickets, cigarettes, and beer, all of which can be found at a gas station. So you can pretty much you get a good cross section of America. But I think it's cool that he's watching. So the other weekend I was up in Vermont visiting Ryder, and we stopped into the Valero. Surprise, surprise! Ted's working. I made sure he subscribed with notifications turned on, which everyone listening needs to do. Subscribe and put on notifications.
That way you can be live and interact with the show.
Yeah, I mean, just pop in, leave a comment. We'll say hi. But
I think eventually we'd like to take some calls.
yeah, well, and Ted again would be a great call in. So maybe not tonight, but one of these nights we'll
It
set
would be a good show if we could just continually go to the phones and.
Well,
just,
and that's the thing too is I would
what's
love
your
to do.
point?
Yeah, my favorite thing ever. Like I said in our first episode, I used to pretend I was on Greg in the Morning Buzz. I love that. I love the radio format. I love doing advice things. I love doing call-in things. Who's the douchebag? A lot of people have copied it. I don't know if Greg in the Morning Buzz invented it. I think it's obviously it's older than the saying "Who's the douchebag?" Like who's in the wrong. People just want to know. It's just an advice thing, but I'd love to get Greg in the Morning Buzz's express written permission to do "Who's the douchebag" on our own show. Can we get the overflow from Greg? You can't be answering all of them.
Yeah.
We'll take the overflow. And how about we just get ourselves put on iHeartRadio too? Have you guys ever tried to use it?
No.
Yeah, it sucks.
Well, way back in the day on Xbox 360, you used to be able to get the iHeartRadio app if you wanted to listen to music on the Xbox 360. That was the only
I'll be
way.
honest, it's actually not that bad, but in terms of like trying to listen to the stuff that was on the radio, the app just doesn't work that great on your phone. I don't have a problem when I use the computer, but on my phone it doesn't really work great. But that's like a huge company. They do the iHeartRadio Music Festival every year, but I don't like who do they have over there at iHeart that's like bringing in money? Like Greg, we know locally they've got Greg in the Morning Buzz, but that's a local joint.
It seems like all radio stations are iHeartRadio, or a lot of them
iHeart
are.
Media.
Yeah.
It could be every radio station in the nation now could be iHeart Media, and they're just the one giant clinging on. But if you guys want to reach out, iHeart, if you want to reach out to us, we'd love to strike up a deal. I'm trying to buy a new camper van, and if you guys want to help us out with that, you want to sponsor the pod, you want to get us on
Need
there.
about $4,000.
$4,000 to get us started. But these things are, you buy something old like that, you gotta prepare for when it breaks down inevitably. So I would expect some sort of continuous, steady flow of money. But if you guys want to talk, I'm open to talking. So reach out.
I think that we do need to put the show on Spotify or something though.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know how to do that, I guess. I don't think it could be that complicated, but you think we can get Carter to figure it out?
I think who
You should be able to
the
rip
thing
the
is-
audio from the lives.
Well,
Yeah.
So there also used to be this app called Anchor. Have you guys ever heard of that? Is that still around?
I don't know. That's the one that uploaded to all podcasting.
Yeah,
places.
so you used to be able to use this app and you could record an episode through it. Somewhere I have an episode on this app. I don't even know what it would be called. I don't know if it's under my name or under air quote awesome, but somewhere on Anchor, a podcast, because what you can do, you can record the show on the Anchor app, record it right onto your phone, and then with one button, it goes onto SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, whatever, like literally anything you can upload a podcast to, it goes to from the click of one button. So something we got to look into. I think I actually think there's a chance to get discovered on a different platform other than YouTube. YouTube is so saturated, there might be a different platform that
I come across when I'm looking for podcasts on Spotify, I come across all kinds of them that are smaller like the Jacob Mulligan show.
I don't come across them like probably that small, but I'll come across people like hundreds of listeners,
Yeah.
like 200-300. I'll get recommended stuff like that on Spotify.
Yeah, and I think that's it. If you do upload to that, or
but I question Spotify. Do they promote anything that they're not in bed with? Like, if you're not like part of a network that's in bed with Spotify, like doing business with them, who controls my Spotify homepage? Because it's always recommending me new music, new podcasts, but it's not. It's
Spotify
not
only
based
recommends
on,
me crap. I never
That's
get
what I'm
anything
saying.
good.
It's not based on my preferences necessarily. It's just whatever's new and what's hot, or whatever Spotify decides is new and hot. Like somebody's making these decisions, and I don't know who's making them and what they're based on. So I question, like, an independent podcast, would that ever be pushed on Spotify the way somebody that's clearly part of a network?
I don't think
is,
they
you
would
know?
push it into a recommended. I think that they would push it more in search results. You do get
Well, that's what I was gonna say. So if you find a podcast that's got lower listeners, what I'll do, I'll go to like comedy podcasts and I'll scroll for a while. And so if you uploaded a podcast and it's under the genre of comedy and you uploaded it in the last 24 hours, you're right there with everybody else in the comedy category as you're scrolling through. So you might just scroll right by us. And see
But it
us
also
there.
depends on it. What kind of show this is too? Are we?
I think it's an entertainment show. I'd like to think of it as a companion show. We don't quite do it often enough, but a companion show, in my opinion, it's like chill. It's nothing completely off the wall. It might get exciting at times, but it's just we're just some dudes hanging out in the basement, just guys being dudes, and you can listen in and like I said, like my favorite shows are the shows like for losers with no friends, right? Like on a Friday night.
Because that's what you are.
Yeah, I'd be listening to the H3 podcast because it's not really even that great of a show. Like, it's pretty incoherent at times. But it's like hanging out in a room with 7 of your friends. The show can be hard to listen to. It can be hard to watch, but it's like sitting in a room with a bunch of people. And that's why I like it. And anyway, that's where I'd like to fall, is kind of just like people that just want to hang out. And and I get our vibe is not probably going to be everybody's, but you can you can listen or you don't have to. But I think generally we got a good vibe and people want to hang out. So, I think maybe we try wrapping it up here.
Yeah, we're just at an hour right now. So
Yeah, I can kind of feel it. You start to feel the energy in the room.
Be done.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's fun to do. I'm happy to do it. And
I would say one thing that I would say is after doing a few of these and doing an hour, we're thinking about Joe Rogan doing 3 hours talking to somebody. I mean, I think that if you have somebody driving a conversation, I think it's easy to sit here and hang out.
You guys are not conversational people, right? Like it's trying to interview you guys is hard. Trying to get you guys to talk about stuff is difficult. Imagine if there was there are people that are worse than me in terms of rambling. I would say I'm like a mid-tier yapper. I'm not even the craziest yapper out there. So imagine you had 2 other yappers in here with me. You'd go 3 hours and there'd still be stuff I didn't get to say because the other yappers were taking up my airtime.
Yeah, I just mean he does a one-on-one show. It's 2 people for 3 hours.
I honestly feel like time flies sitting here.
I think it does too. I think it goes by really quick.
I think it does. I think that
you get to an hour so quick. A lot of times we quit. I would keep going, but today I feel like we're at a good stopping point. But
I would totally keep going if I. That's the thing, right? If I was going to do this like a companion show, like I'd like to do it throughout the day, ideally, like a radio show. I think it'd be cool to start at a time in the morning and go for like 5-6 hours throughout the day and have multiple people alternating in and out of the studio throughout the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That to me is my dream world to do, something like that.
A radio show?
Yeah, just a radio. If I could play my own music, I would love that too. But yeah, literally like a radio show all day. I think that'd be awesome. The problem is, we're doing this after a full day of work at night. I still want to go home and sit on the toilet for half an hour. I haven't done that yet today. So that's the only thing in terms of time wise doing this. But Ted, I'm glad you're tuning in live. Do me a solid and don't expose me like that again. You're gonna get me burned real quick. I'm not in Vermont anymore. But on that note, guys, I think we'll wrap this son of a gun up. We'll wrap it tight. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next episode.
the camera, you don't understand.